the greatest stretches for our friendship in a positive way was between the first and second year for Matt and I. In this offseason, there was never about Matt and I. We had great conversations throughout the whole thing. I think there was some, fear that maybe I wouldn't come back on his side, which, was warranted because I was thinking about not coming back. And but him and I have always had a good relationship. He flew out. We had a good time in Malibu. He brought a couple of gifts as well. He knows how much I enjoy the brown liquor and also some wine he brought as well. So that was much appreciated.
I love that Gunter.
Other people didn't maybe bring the same type of gifts as Matty did.
Oh, I read about these trips, though. I want to let you know, I read about these trips. Was LaFleur the first or the last?
He was the first.
Okay, fucking LaFleur, he likes you most. All right. Yeah. And LaFleur's like, this is a lot of pressure, man. I could go back to like college recruiting. Let me get the booze out. All right, I think this is good. Was he like scotch, right? He likes 4 fingers of scotch. Mm-hmm. That guy loves throwing that down. Let's get out of there. A little wine out there. That's awesome, man. I'm happy to hear that your two relationship is so good because if I do recall, one of the people that was potentially involved in the whole thing said, hey, you don't be the fucking problem here. And it turns out LaFleur was like, oh, he's not the problem. Hey, he's the answer, actually. Yeah, this is good news. Go ahead, Ty.
Aaron, wouldn't want you to throw...
Let me just respond to that. That never fucking happened again. I think I've mentioned that on this show, but that never happened. That alleged conversation never happened.
Which one?
Don't be the problem. That never happened.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. That's a total lie. That's a fabrication.
Okay, so I shouldn't hate him for that then. Okay, let me take that back. That never happened. Okay, good news.
It never happened.
Is there anything else that never happened that we should know about?
As it comes up this season, I'll definitely be sure and write the ones that I feel like need to be righted that were wrong.
Yeah, because killing with indifference has always been your thing. But there's some things that should be like, hey, we got to nip this in the bud, especially now.
Yeah, like the whole, deep house cleaning thing that is a total lie, or the golf dues thing that that's that was a lie as well. Now Green Bay Country Club, for whatever reason, decided to do some big renovation. They're charging dues for certain. For anybody who wants to stick around, you're a little 7,500 little ching on top of your bill. But you don't renew golf dues. You either leave the club or you pay your golf dues. There's no like, I'm going to put my renewal. Oh, you must be coming back. That never happened.
Yeah, it's an auto pay situation. And I think that was our immediate response because I've been charged at 3 different country clubs around Indiana because I became a member because I just wanted to golf on one particular day and I've never golfed there ever again. And I'm still paying for whatever fucking food they're adding to their every single time. So it was a little bit of a nightmare. All right, it was a little bit of a nightmare. I should go a little bit more and work on my putting, by the way, because you're putting.
We got to get out of there.
Yeah, hot. Got to get out. Got to call him. Hey, don't be taking in $7,500, by the way. I ain't fucking doing it anymore. I golf in Montana with Bryson DeChambeau. All right, that's all I do. Go ahead, Ty.
Aaron, wouldn't want you to throw any dirt on anyone or take any pot shots, but we saw from training camp, you standing next to Gutekunst and not really Mark Murphy, but I know myself and a lot of fans were hoping that one of those days maybe you'd just throw a seed right through both those fuckers' chests. Notwithstanding, do you feel like as you guys got down to the 53, like were things different this year? Do you feel like your voice was heard a little bit more?
That's a good question, Ty. You're full of great questions.
Appreciate
that. Some things never change. I don't want to get into the depth of the conversations or the actual conversations too much. I just feel like some things need to be left where they're at. I will say that there has been better communication than in years past. I think that was understood by all parties involved that was kind of needed moving forward to have a chance to keep this thing rolling. So that was definitely a different level of communication than in years past, for sure.
Okay, so was there ever a time where you just wanted to say to him, and you can't say this, I mean, you acknowledged it earlier, and I'm happy you have acknowledged just like what everybody has known that watches you play football, but was your entire debate back was just, you should fucking want to know, like, what I think? Like, was that said, and was that what ended up happening at the end? Like, yeah, we should want to know what the best player that has ever played and has been better in this league longer than we had any positions of power. Was that the agreement that came towards the end there? I think that's what a lot of people want to know. Like, how come your voice wasn't being heard when legitimately one of the smartest players to ever play football, one of the best players to ever play football. Why would you not want that person's input? Is that where the conversation ended? Was it like that on both sides, or is that still something that has to be chatted about more?
Well, Pat, I think you have to understand that it's not necessarily that anybody is extremely wrong in the situation. There's in all parts of society, at times, people do things because they've always done them, right? Now, some would counter that and say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, right? Mm-hmm. But in business, often in corporations and big business, things are done, and it used to be done in the West Coast offense as well, when Mike and I would have conversations over the years, and why are we doing this? Well, that's what they've done since 1989. That's when Bill Walsh and Paul Hackett put it in. That's the way they did things, and it'd be like, well, let's adapt, let's change. And to Mike's credit, he had the kind of the second iteration of the West Coast offense, and we adjusted and did different things that the original West Coast offense wasn't doing. And my point of saying that is, in business, a lot of times you do things a certain way because they've always been done a certain way, or you've been modeled how things should work or operate, and that's what you learn. That's how you grow up in the system. And objectively, there's been a lot of success in Green Bay doing it kind of this way, where coaches coach, players play, and personnel people make decisions. They've also been fortunate to have some pretty good quarterback play over the last 31 years-ish starting. So for me, it was just wanting to have a bigger impact in decisions that directly affect my job that I feel like I'm competent enough to communicate about, that I know. Nobody knows the locker room better than I do. Nobody has been, around this place in a position of influence longer than I have. And I mean influence, I've been starting now for 14 years. So nobody knows the product like I do on the field. And that gives me a perspective that I feel like adds, not dominates, but adds to a conversation when you're talking about players or decisions that directly impact the product on the field. And that was my thing the entire time. I believe for the majority of the offseason, there was an unwillingness to budge or to have those conversations. But you never know. I believe in the possibility for people to change and grow, and it just takes small minor adjustments in habits. Habits take, on average, scientifically, I read this, about 3 weeks to fully kind of lock in your brain and change. And so I always feel like that I'm 3 weeks away from an epiphany or a major life change or an adjustment that's going to positively impact my life. And everybody who is in a position of influence here in Green Bay is 3 weeks away from that as well.